So you're trying to, so what are you trying to do with virtual assistants? That's something to try and do, and I can tell you the best way to do it.
Sure. So I am launching kind of a new brand for my firm in the next month or so, and it's
Uh-huh.
it's much more kind of specific as far as what I'm doing, and it's giving me the opportunity to re-look at my social media presence, and I really want to expand that presence and um, make sure that I'm consistently posting on social media, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, Instagram, wherever I might get a good return on my time.
Yeah,
And given how busy I am, I don't have the time to execute on all the ideas that I have and kind of what I have in mind. So I'm
sure.
looking for someone who has the time to kind of do all the tedious tasks it takes.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, so that's kind of what I do with my stuff is, like I was saying, I touched on it before where my philosophy is that, I get paid to think and other
Right.
people get paid to do, right? So you get rid of all the busy work because there's always people that can do the busy work for you that you can train to do the busy work. So I get all of my virtual assistants from Upwork. Um, have you ever used that site?
Yeah, I have. I definitely have. And I looked, I've, and I'm also looking on online, was it onlinejobs.ph, the Philippines focused.
I've never used that one before. I just use Upwork just because it's all just in one platform. Like I know the platform, and
Yeah, yeah. So
um,
yeah, Upwork, definitely familiar with it.
so okay. So there's a couple things. So first of all, the secret to hiring is like I'm not sure what experiences you've had with VAs, but I've got some VAs that like I probably I couldn't run my business without them. Like they're that important.
Right.
And the way that you hire is the most important part because whenever people work with people overseas and they get poor results, it's for one of two reasons. It's either you can't communicate properly with them or it's because you didn't give them good instructions, right?
Right.
So the first thing you need to do is you have to make sure that you can communicate with them. So what I always do is when during the interview process, I always ask them questions that they can't Google. Like I'll
Right.
ask them, what are their hobbies? Where did they grow up? Like tell me about your family, different things like that.
Right.
Because that'll assess their communication skills. Because if you can't have a conversation with them, then it's going to be impossible to actually be able to give them good instructions, right?
Right.
So that's the first thing. The next thing is when I hire somebody, I always hire, and because it's so cheap, it's like $3 an hour or $5 an hour.
Right.
I always hire like not kidding. I hire 5 people for the same job and I test them.
Right.
So I'll give them some sort of task that requires research, requires critical thinking, requires communication, whatever
Right.
it is, give them something, give all 5 of them the same task, pay them all to do it, and
Right.
then keep the ones that do a good job,
Right.
because and that's kind of what it needs. Like, for me, I don't know what you do, but for me, I'll say like, okay, I need you to create a document with the names, email addresses, and phone numbers of 25 estate planning attorneys in New Jersey.
Right.
And like that's all I'll give them, and
Right.
I want to see what they come back to me with.
Right.
Um, and then and obviously once I actually hire them, then I give them much better instruction. And usually what I do is I do videos for everything. So I'll say like, I'll show them exactly what the task is, and I use Screencast-O-Matic,
Uh-huh.
and I just record exactly, I'll record myself doing the process. I'll explain everything, give them all the links, give them access to that. And I don't have a problem because I know I can communicate with them and I give them really good instructions because I'm actually showing them what to do.
Right.
So when you do that, it's really good. Now with social media, there's some things that you probably don't want to outsource, like writing.
Okay.
Because what I do is I create a video, and then when I create a video, I send it off to my team, and then I'm finished with it, right?
Right.
So my team then creates YouTube thumbnail, YouTube description. They turn it into a blog post. They turn it into an email. They add it to my email sequence. There's a bunch of different things. They add it to social media, all these different things.
Right.
The one thing that I don't do overseas is writing.
Right.
I have a writer. Actually, we have lots of writers, but We hire American writers because again, that requires thinking, but it's not as much thinking as like creating the content. Like what we typically do is go to rev.com, get the blog or the video transcribed. It's like $1 a minute, right? And then you send that to a writer and you say, look, just clean this up, make it so that it actually reads well, but don't change it. Just make it so it, because you don't talk the way that you write, you talk, get rid of all the ums and the uhs and, all that stuff like that. And then just have them clean it up.
Right.
So it's still your words. They're just making it legible basically, and you have a writer do that. And then also write the YouTube description and the email. Those are a little less important, but you still want to make that. So that's all you do, and then you just give them really good instructions for every piece, and then it runs automatically. That's the nice part.
Right. All right. I mean that helps a lot as far as kind of because one of my major concerns or questions was. Because I did interview a couple people this morning, and I was like, how do I tell whether or not these people are actually going to be able to do a good job? But, hiring 3 or 5 of them right off the bat and giving them a task and seeing how they do, it seems like a pretty simple solution to that. Yeah,
it's really easy. And like I said, as long as just make sure to ask them questions they can't Google, because then you can tell. I'm telling you, some of the VAs that I have in the Philippines are just so good. Like it doesn't matter where they are. If they moved to the US and started charging American rates, they'd still have a job.
Right.